Edward Snowden was interviewed for the first time by a U.S. media figure. Brian Williams journeyed to Moscow to talk to the leaker, the former hacker. They had an interesting conversation. Let's play the first clip.
I was trained as a spy in sort of the traditional sense of the word, in that I lived and worked undercover overseas, pretending to work in a job that I'm not, and even being assigned a name that was not mine. But I am a technical specialist. I am a technical expert. I don't work with people. I don't recruit agents. What I do is I put systems to work for the United States. And I've done that at all levels, from the bottom on the ground all the way to the top.
So what Edward Snowden is doing there is trying to fight, I guess the charge, it's been both overt and covert, or subtle at least, that he is just a low-level hacker. He was some guy in a basement at the NSA on computers, and he stole all this information. He doesn't know anything about the actual operation of our, I guess, counterintelligence and intelligence communities around the globe. He doesn't want you to believe that. We have no idea because the NSA didn't respond to comment about whether he held those positions or not, but that's what he's alleging at least. And he continues along the same train of thought in this clip.
Now, the government might deny these things. They might frame it in certain ways and say, oh, well, you know, he's a low-level analyst. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to use one position that I've had in a career here or there to distract from the totality of my experience, which is that I've worked for the Central Intelligence Agency, undercover, overseas. I've worked for the National Security Agency, undercover, overseas. And I've worked for the Defense Intelligence Agency as a lecturer at the Joint Counterintelligence Training Academy, where I developed sources and methods for keeping our information and people secure in the most hostile and dangerous environments around the world. So when they say I'm a low-level systems administrator, that I don't know what I'm talking about, I'd say it's somewhat misleading.
So, look, that's just a small portion from the interview, which will be airing tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. We've seen just a little bit of it that was leaked last night, or that was broadcast last night. Why are they focusing on this element of it? Like, I understand his desire to defend his reputation and to give himself a little bit of credibility. I don't know how much it really matters going forward, since the documents are already in the hands of Glenn Greenwald and other journalists. But yeah, this is just another attempt by the media, I think, to distract from the actual point, the actual thing that he represents, which is the programs that he revealed, the information he gave to the American public about what the government was doing vis-a-vis their privacy rights, their data, their phone calls, their emails, all of their information that we now know they have access to, we know because of him. And I don't fundamentally see how it matters if he was, you know, if he was in this country at this point working for the CIA and then he went over to East Africa for the NSA. I don't care if he was a janitor. If he got the information and the information is accurate and he gave it to us so that now we can, in an informed sense, vote for the right politicians to regulate what the NSA and the other intelligence departments of the U.S. government does, I really don't care what his job was. Now, at the same time, they described him earlier on, like you didn't see it in that clip, but they describe him as the guy who leaked these documents, which I think is an interesting way of putting it. Don't give him any credit for having revealed these massive government programs. Just say that he leaked documents. You can decide for yourself if there was any value to the documents. And then also in CNN, they showed a bit of this. I believe it was last night. They showed a bit. And as they came back from the clip, they said, oh, look at him using a lot of energy to defend his position. He shouldn't have to defend his position. He's been out there for a year now. The American public should have all the information they need to determine if he was a hero or a zero, as you always say in your headlines. They should already know this stuff. It's the fault of outlets like CNN that the American people don't have the right impression of what Edward Snowden did, who think that journalism is just some sort of like optional thing in the present day, or if it's a relic of an earlier time. The arguments now, like I saw it was in a New York Times book review, it's that the government should have the final say when it comes to revealing any government programs. How does that make any sense? This is a country that historically has had a great distrust for government power. And yet when it comes to them revealing the secrets of the ways they're invading your privacy, we're supposed to trust them? No, we're supposed to have the information. There might be something, some program, something that he could leak that I could feel was not actually in our interest to know, that it did actually harm the national security of the United States. But we haven't reached that point yet. Every one of the programs he revealed, I am glad that he revealed it. You should be as well. We need that information. We haven't done much with the information yet. We got an incredibly weak sauce bill that's being debated in Congress right now, but we need the information. Now, it might be that in the full interview, which, as I said, will be available tonight, they'll actually reveal something of value. But at this point, I feel like it's going to be a smear job against Edward Snowden. And even the parts where they're letting Edward Snowden speak is just going to be a distraction from the real point, the real heart of this matter, which is that we need this information, and he's the only one who's provided it to us, at least in the past few years.